Now, I wanted to do a few further examples going a bit more slowly and for you guys to practice a little bit more with this finding the equation of the line when the slope is a fraction. So I'm going to do 2 more examples and then I'm going to give you guys 3 to do, and that will be your homework. Tomorrow we're actually going to pause coordinate geometry for a while because I'd like to do a little bit more algebra before we do the end of this chapter. Otherwise, I think the end of this chapter will be quite confusing. So we're going to move on to chapter 9 of algebra after this tomorrow. Right. So if you want to give this a title in your notes, it is just further examples with the equation of a line. So we're going to do them all in the form ax plus by plus c equals 0. The first example will be asked to find the equation of the line. Find the equation, sorry about my writing, of the line through the points 2, -2 and 7, -8. Okay, so just like the homework, first we're going to need to find the slope. Always label your points x and y, first point, second point. The slope of the line is the difference between the y values divided by the difference between the x values. That's our rise over run. y2 is -8. y1 is -2, so taking away a negative number is plus, -8 plus 2 over 7 minus 2. And this gives me -6 over 5. That's a top-heavy fraction, but we'll leave it like that. Remember, this is going to be my m, that it doesn't matter where we put the minus sign, okay? So this is the same as 6 over -5, or the minus in the middle like this. But I always put the minus on top of the fraction. So we get used to that, because if we do that, it keeps things consistent and we can all work things out the same way and we won't make mistakes and you won't forget where the minus is. Next, I need to fill into my equation of the line formula. So y minus y1 equals m by x minus x1. And what I fill in, y stays as it is because I want y in my answer, minus a y1, minus a -2 is +2, equal to -6 over 5 by x minus x1, x minus 2. Okay, so hopefully everybody in the class can get this far. The next step, so this is what I keep writing down, is that when I have a fraction slope, a fraction slope is always going to be a numerator divided by a denominator. And I'm just going to call them top and bottom for the moment. And we're going to learn off this fact. When we have a fraction slope, the bottom number multiplies the y side of my equation, and the top number multiplies the x side of my equation. We're going to learn this off as a fact. When we've gone and done a little bit more algebra, I'll explain to you why. What we're actually doing is multiplying both sides of my equation by the denominator. I'm explaining it now anyway, but don't worry if you don't understand yet. So I'm multiplying this side by 5 and I'm multiplying this side by 5. But here the 5's cancel. A 5 by a 5th gives you 1. So it cancels out. That's what's happening. For the moment, we're going to learn this as a technique. It's okay sometimes in maths to learn a technique, and later on we can come back to why it works. You don't have to understand everything about how maths works in order to do it. It's better to understand, but sometimes you have to build that understanding up from multiple sides. So what this means is my bottom number, the 5 here, is going to multiply the y side of my equation. And this is why I wanted the minus on the top number, because I'm going to leave it there. Minus 6 by the x side of my equation. Notice the brackets that I put in. That bottom number has to multiply the y and the 2. It has to multiply both of them. I multiply out the brackets and I get 5y plus 10 equals minus 6x. Minus 6x. It's not super clear. Just move my equals back a little bit. So negative 6x. Then a minus by a minus is plus 12. Okay? And then, just like we've been doing before, we bring everything to one side. The minus 6x comes over to this side. It becomes positive, plus 6x, plus 5y, plus 10, minus 12 equal to 0. And then I add like terms, 6x plus 5y minus 2 equal to 0. Okay, so let me just fill in the other two steps here. We multiply out our brackets. Multiply out the brackets. Bring everything to one side. Bring everything to one side equal to 0. And then simplify. And remember, simplify in maths means add like terms. Add or subtract like terms. I didn't need to change the signs, but sometimes you will. So change the signs only if necessary. So if you need to, if there was a minus in front of the x, we would change the signs. Okay, so this is what we do every time that we're finding the equation of a line through 2 points where I get a fraction for my slope. Fill into the formula. Most of your marks come at this point, and then the bottom number of the fraction multiplies the y side, the top number of the fraction multiplies the x side. Multiply out your brackets, bring everything to one side, simplify, and change the sign if you need to. Let's do another example. And then I'm going to ask you guys to do some for homework yourselves. So this example, we're going to find the equation of the line. Find the equation of the line through the points A, which is minus 3, 4, and B, which is 5, 3. It's actually no different. You don't need to take this down into your notes if you don't want to, because there's nothing new happening here. I just wanted to do one more for you guys to see it. Label my points x1, y1, x2, y2. Find my slope. So the slope formula, the difference between the y values divided by the difference between the x values. And I get 3 minus 4 divided by 5 plus 3. And that gives me minus 1 over 8, minus an eighth. Sorry, I dropped my pen. That's m. So this is m. But I then fill into my equation of the line formula. Y minus y1 equals m by x minus x1. Fill into the formula. I've got y minus y1 minus 4 equals m minus 1 over 8 by x minus a minus 3 plus 3. And then the bottom number multiplies the y side. So 8 by y minus 4 equals the top number multiplies the x side, minus 1 by x plus 3. Multiply out my brackets. 8y minus 32 equals minus 1x. You can put in the 1 or you can just do minus x, minus 3. Everything to one side. A plus x plus 8y minus 32 plus 3 equal to 0. So we change the signs when we move sides. And I'm going to go over that a little bit when we start looking at algebra tomorrow. And that gives me x plus 8y minus 29 equal to 0. And that's my final answer. There was no need to change the signs. Okay, so practice a little bit with those examples, and I want you to try a few yourselves for homework. So I'm going to write it here because I want to keep it on the same page. So for homework, I want you to try 2 of those. Find the equations of the lines. Find the equations of the lines through the points A, 1, 3, and B, that's a 1, B, 5, 5, 6, okay, 5, 6, and through, let's say C this time, minus 2, 8, and D, which is 3, 4. Okay, so you should have fractions with those. Now, that's the homework that I want you to do for tonight. I will put a photograph of it up in Google Classroom as well. Actually, I'll just type it in. And that's it. Tomorrow we're going to move away from this chapter for a while, as I said, and go back to some algebra. Thank you. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments.